Thank you. Senator Fischer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to both of our nominees here today. I enjoyed meeting with both of you before this hearing, so thank you for coming into my office and having a good discussion. Mr. Kratsios, I welcome your enthusiasm for advancing American leadership on emerging technologies. As you know, OSTP is responsible for coordinating science and tech policy among federal agencies. When you were the United States Chief Technology Officer, one of your focuses was advancing DoD's unique testing authorities to drive innovation. And at the time, you stated that the Department of Defense is at the forefront of cutting-edge 5G testing and experimentation. Do you still believe that?
I do, yes.
And when it comes to 5G and other spectrum matters, do you believe that DoD testing should be faithfully integrated into a national spectrum policy?
Yes, DoD is a critical component of the spectrum strategy.
If you're confirmed to be director of OSTP, your role will still be influential on national spectrum policy, even though it may be smaller compared to other agencies. Previously, I understood you were involved with America's Midband Initiative team, known as AMBIT, and you brought that up a couple times yesterday in our discussion. And so I looked into it a little bit more to familiarize myself with it. And that was an auction off midband spectrum held by DoD, and it was to make those licenses available to wireless companies. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did AMBIT auction, did that cause more congestion for defense systems operating in that lower 3 band?
In my opinion, I think AMBIT provided an opportunity for a technical analysis of that spectrum range and find a way to be able to still complete the national security mission by moving some of the workloads that were in the auction band to lower bands.
So they had to compress that band even more then in order to accommodate that into the lower 3, is that correct?
Yeah, so some of the activities that were in the band that ultimately were auctioned were moved down to lower bands.
Are you familiar, first of all, I understand that AMBIT struggled on the back end with major relocation costs from the defense systems that were displaced in that process of compressing them. Is that correct?
I haven't tracked the details of that since I left office, but there's always transition costs associated with freeing up bands typically.
Are you familiar with any of the costs? Are those readily available so we can access those? Do you know how that cut into the net revenue that was expected from the auction?
I'm not familiar with those details, but I can try to see what's publicly available.
That would be great. Mr. Meador, over the years, the Federal Trade Commission has faced off in court against the deepening pockets of major corporations, especially when it comes to big tech. If confirmed, how would you prioritize litigation and effectively use agency resources in upholding the FTC's mission?
I think that's a very important topic. I will say the FTC staff have gotten very good at doing a lot with often much less. If confirmed, my first step will be to consult with the chairman and the commissioners and, of course, the staff to understand what challenges they are facing, what do we have on our docket, and what resources do we have available, and then work collaboratively with all of them to determine which cases are the highest priority to protect the largest number of consumers from the gravest threats.
It's my understanding that at times there can be tension with that enforcement coordination with the Department of Justice. Do you have any comments on that, or if that would occur, what would you do?
Sure. Yeah, this is something that has happened frequently in the past. Some of it has unfortunately been very public. I'm confident that President Trump has selected leaders for this administration who can work very well together. I think it is of paramount importance that both agencies be singing from the same hymn sheet, be aligned on policy and enforcement decisions, and there should really be no daylight between them when it comes to how they're enforcing the antitrust laws. I think anything is possible if you don't care who gets the credit. And so when it comes to merger clearance, we should be focusing on protecting consumers as fast as possible, not trying to get one up on the other agency.
Thank you both for putting yourselves forward to serve in these very dangerous times that we live in. I really appreciate it, and thank you to your families as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Senator Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Bipartisan Chips and Science Act authorized one of the largest